Did Greene County officials use your tax dollars illegally?
That is the question being raised by at least one whistleblower, the Missouri auditor, and now in a series of emails obtained by KY3 News. Emily Wood is in our newsroom with what we are learning tonight. Emily?
So starting in April, we are all set to pay a higher sales tax rate right here in Greene County. But now these emails I obtained after filing a formal sunshine request today reveal the tactics that may have been used to get that tax increase passed. This September email from Greene County Presiding Commissioner Bob Certain outlined efforts to campaign and raise money to help promote the proposed half-cent sales tax increase. A big red flag for the state auditor, who says a whistleblower alerted her office. Taxpayer resources may have been used in that effort illegally.
Mr. Certain will have to speak for what his intent was with that email. I cannot do that.
Commissioner Harold Bench was one of the email recipients. In the first paragraph of the email, Commissioner Certain pushes for closed meetings, saying he doesn't want the risk of the media attending.
I really didn't think about what he said there, honestly. It just didn't cross my mind.
Looking at it in hindsight, did that seem a little odd to you that he wouldn't want public
I can
involved?
see why a person might question that.
The public business and public business on the taxpayer dime should be done out in the open. There should be a transparent process.
State Auditor Nicole Galloway says her office wants an audit, but county commissioners have to allow it. And minutes from a closed-door meeting December 7th released today show Commissioners Certain and Bench voted for a private firm to get involved, while Commissioner Lincoln Huff supports the audit.
This law firm, they have a loyalty and duty to their client, which is the county commission. As state auditor, I have a duty to taxpayers and the citizens of Greene County. That's who I stand for.
So did the county misuse tax dollars? Here's what the commissioners told me.
I can only speak for what resources I used. There were no county resources used by me as an individual. I know of no other resources that were used.
To my knowledge, no, but you can see from the email that was published yesterday, my knowledge may be limited in scope as to what's happened.
As for the author of that email, Commissioner Certain has refused for multiple days now to do an interview with KY3, first regarding the whistleblower's allegations, and then today regarding what was inside those emails. I can tell you those emails again called for the secret meetings, and those emails were coming from Commissioner Certain. Reporting live in the newsroom, Emily Wood, back to you.
Did Greene County office holders use your money illegally to campaign for what they wanted? Specifically, the sales tax increase approved to fund a new jail. Emily Wood is in our newsroom tonight with what's happening now in the state's push for an audit of Greene County books. Emily?
Steve, I learned late this afternoon from the auditor her office is willing to do this audit at no additional cost to Greene County taxpayers. She says that's due to the very serious nature of the allegations coming from that whistleblower who alerted the state. Remember the ballot issue in question here? It's that half-cent sales tax increase approved in November, set to take effect in April. It's intended in part to fund a new jail. The state auditor wants to know if the strategies county leaders used to get it passed were ethical and legal. Emails I obtained from the county show a push for secret meetings to discuss strategy. Commissioner Bob Certain sent this email to select county employees and elected officials, pushing for the meetings to be behind closed doors. Sheriff Jim Arnott was one of the recipients. I asked him this afternoon if he believes the county should submit to the audit. Here's his response.
The big thing is if there's an audit issue, just like if there is a law enforcement issue, the chief law enforcement officer of the county should deal with it, which is the sheriff. If there's an auditing issue, you elect and pay for a county auditor to do that. You also have a second backup as an independent auditing firm comes in and does things once a year. If there's a problem, it should be directed to the elected county auditor. That's her job.
But the county auditor, Cindy Stein, was one of the recipients in this email chain from Commissioner Bob Certain when he pushed for those private meetings. For now, the commissioners have closed their doors to the idea of a state audit, instead hiring that private firm at the tune of $360 per hour. Taxpayers, of course, funding that. So what happens next? The one commissioner who did not receive these emails, was not in the email chain, and did not support the proposal for the tax increase is Lincoln Huff. He tells me taxpayers still have the option to petition the state auditor to do their own audit.
I believe the state auditor is going to come in and conduct either an investigation into these allegations due to the mounting pressure from the community to see this in an open way, or the other option is a citizen-led initiative petition that would then allow the auditor to come in and audit the county and the financial books of the county.
If an audit is performed, what happens next? The auditor tells me it's really too early to know what they might find. She has no idea and cannot speculate. But she says dependent on those findings, law enforcement could get involved, the Missouri Ethics Commission, even the Secretary of State. Again, that's dependent on what they may find in a potential investigation. For now, reporting live in the newsroom, Emily Wood, back to you.
More issues coming to light for Greene County taxpayers. Emily Wood shows us this time it's an empty but costly new temporary jail space. Emily.
Ethan, the temporary jail space houses exactly 0 prisoners right now, but it's still costing taxpayers nearly $2,400 each and every day.
Well, my goal date was November 1st.
6 weeks later, the temporary jail space remains empty, and Sheriff Jim Arnott tells me it could be January before the first prisoners ever step foot in it.
Right now we have roughly 170 inmates being housed out, so I'll bring 108 of those inmates back, put in the temporary jail.
Arnott cites staffing issues, saying he couldn't predict how many staff he would lose or the difficulties he would face in recruiting new employees. Of 200 applications received, he says only 21 were qualified. Offers are out, but Arnott says the majority of them will not be able to start until after the holidays.
It's kind of a difficult position to be in, whether you can't hire ahead of time, but then when it's open and you lose staff, you can't open it until you have the appropriate amount of staff. It's a safety issue.
Arnott says issues with the Greene County Commission and contractors hired also led to delays on the construction side, but he takes responsibility for costs starting from November 22nd, when he says he received the keys to the facility. Meanwhile, taxpayers are still footing the bill for those 170 inmates being housed in other counties right now. That's while the temporary jail space meant to relieve that cost remains empty, at least for now. If the temporary jail is fully staffed by January 1, as the sheriff hopes it will be, the cost of it remaining empty from November 1st through January 1st will add up to some $145,000 for taxpayers.
7 weeks after a new temporary jail in Greene County was completed, the first prisoners there are finally being held in that prison. Emily Wood is live in our newsroom with the very latest. Emily.
Yeah, nearly $2,400 a day to run an empty jail. Those numbers coming from the Greene County Sheriff, who told me personally last week the earliest day he would be able to open that temporary space would be after the holidays. But when our story aired showing you the numbers, that changed. We got notice just a day or so ago that prisoners would be moving into the temporary space this week. I asked the sheriff how he was able to make the change so quickly, but I did not get a response directly from him, other than a spokesperson from his office telling me the sheriff would be available Thursday, as in tomorrow, to answer those questions. I was able to speak with one of our county commissioners. Harold Bench told me he believes the sheriff was able to finalize hiring earlier than he anticipated. The temporary facility has 108 beds, and prisoners moved in today. But some 40 prisoners will remain in one of 5 contracted jails in other counties.
We were very anxious to see this place open. However, we also understand the sheriff can only employ those that apply once they meet all the qualifications, and he can't control that.
Meanwhile, I can tell you there is a citizen petition for an audit of Greene County underway. This comes after the auditor says she received a credible complaint from a whistleblower about the county. The state auditor has offered to do an audit free of charge, but county commissioners have not agreed to that as of this point. Reporting live in the newsroom, Emily Wood, back to you.
Emily, real quick, how many signatures would be needed for that petition?
I asked the auditor's office about that. Rough count, about 6,500, so really not that many when you're talking all of Greene County.
Okay, we'll see what happens from here. Emily Wood following that story.
Inside the temporary jail in Greene County. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Wood. Our camera is getting a first look at that facility today. The sheriff revealing not just how he managed to get it open after saying just last week that wouldn't be possible, but also answering a lot of questions as he revealed the state auditor has the sheriff's department in her sights. An invitation to tour the temporary jail today turned into a detailed presentation from Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott, coming out strong against State Auditor Nicole Galloway.
It's ridiculous. State auditor's job. Someone's looking for publicity. Somebody's up for election. They don't pay their bills. They're $1.8 million behind. If they paid their bills, maybe we wouldn't have to pass a tax. I don't know.
Revealing to a room full of reporters his actions leading up to the county tax vote are under scrutiny. Sharing correspondence, he says, from between the state auditor and his attorney, including social media posts in which he pleads for taxpayers to vote yes for the increase. And these receipts spent on election materials he called educational, lashing out at news coverage of the requested audit as well.
I'm transparent, I'll tell you. But I'll be honest with you, I am tired of the conspiracy theories. I'm tired of the tabloid journalism that's gone on by two news agencies. And it's very disappointing.
The sheriff also took us on a tour inside the new temporary jail space, a structure that sat empty for 7 weeks at a cost of nearly $120,000 to taxpayers. Arnott first told us it wouldn't be possible to open it before January 1st, but reversed his decision after our story revealed that delay would cost taxpayers some $145,000 in all. Here's how he said he got it done.
We came up with a plan to, we were cutting some programs, taking people from various shifts and move them around. And then unfortunately, vacation and leave time is going to be highly scrutinized until the second week in January.
The sheriff says he is still short 2 jailers, but plans to be fully staffed by later in January.